again, on behalf of the Genealogy Center, welcome. Thank you so much, Kay, for 5 of 5 presentations. Kay Spears is a member of the genealogy team here in the Genealogy Center in Fort Wayne, has an amazing amount of expertise and experience in dealing with photographs, from preserving to scanning, file management, real asset to our team. And without further ado, Kay, I'll just turn it over to you.
Okay, well, thanks, Kurt, and welcome everybody to the last in the 5 sessions. And tonight we're going to have a little bit of fun with Adobe. We're not going to be so serious, and I'm going to show you some things that are, in my opinion, really kind of neat. As I said in some of the previous sessions, every year Adobe comes up with new versions, and they always add at least one new thing, sometimes more, to each version. So when I purchased this version, there were some new things in it for me, although I think some of them had been around for a while. Sometimes some of the things that they distribute don't necessarily work, and sometimes they do. So I wanted to show you a couple of those things right now. And we're going to start with a photograph. If you've been here before, you're going to recognize it. Now, I don't know about you, but when I grew up and my father would go crazy with the camera, he always placed us, for some reason, so that we were looking directly in the sun, which usually caused something like this, with the eye closed. Well, Adobe has given us something that opens it, or at least is supposed to. And I want to show you what that one does. It's right here under Enhance, Open Closed Eyes. And it's, I think you'll see what I'm talking about with sometimes things don't necessarily work out in Adobe. So I click on that and the dialog box comes up. Now, previously, when I first opened this up, there were other photographs in here, but I have not been able to get them back, and the only way to get them back is to reset the whole entire thing, and I'm not going to do that. So I'm just going to show you what this one does, and we're going to zoom in on this image. And when you open it up, you'll notice that there are circles because Adobe finds the faces and it circles them, but you need to go in and select the one that you're going to fix. So we're going to highlight that one. Now, hopefully you can all see this. Just zoom in just a little bit more. Okay, so all I have to do to get an eye that's open is to click on this one. And here I go. Okay, does everybody see that? That's pretty interesting, isn't it? It's rather, I thought it was kind of creepy myself when this came up, but they also give you the option of finding other photographs. So we're going to go in here, and you can try to look for some other eyes to put in there. We'll choose this one, and we'll choose the photograph we already have. It put little check marks on there.
We have a participant, Kay, who agrees with you that that is kind of creepy.
It is creepy. Wait till you see the rest. Okay. So we've got some eyes in here, and we're going to choose this one. And it's still, you know, it's just really creepy. Um, so we're not going to use that one because that's not, that would replace that one with that one. So let's try this one. And it just doesn't get very good with any of these choices. That one's sort of okay, but the eyes aren't all that open. So I think what they intended was probably, you know, their idea was good. It's just that I think probably the problem with this particular tool is that you have to have a really close photograph that has the same tone values, the same kind of pixels, the coloring, um, that matches pretty much for this tool to work. So this was, when I first saw this tool, I thought, that's pretty funny. But so what if we do have this? And I'll show you an old way of fixing this. And first we are going to go over here to our clone and go in really close because this is a pretty small photograph. And we're going to clone this out. Just because we don't want it disturbing the layer that we're going to put on it. Yeah, that's good enough for now. So what we do is we go over here to a select tool and we select the eye over here. And we click right and we want to feather it, but we have a very large feather on there, so we want to turn that feather down a little because the photograph itself is small.
While you're doing that, Kay, one of our participants asked, do you need to convert the file to edit it?
Not in this case. No.
Okay.
This was I believe this is either a TIFF or, yeah, this is a TIFF. So no, I did not have to convert it to anything. So now I'm going to layer it or copy it, give it another layer. So I have it up here, although it's so small you can't see it. And what you do then, it's just really simple. Now it's selected. I'm just going to use my arrow keys on my keyboard, move this over. Now I've got it on the other side. So now what you need to do, because now you've got two eyes that are going in the same direction. So you have to flip this. And you go up here to the rotate. Now the rotate, this section rotates the entire photograph, and this section rotates just that layer, and I'm going to flip it. So now it's going the other direction. So now the only thing that is left to do is put a mask on this layer and just go over and thin this area around so that it's not quite so dark. And you just do that with your brush. Make sure that that's black when you do it, and that brush is just way too big. And just kind of go up here and start working around the edges to get that off there. And that's all there is to putting an eye on the other side. You just use what is already there and flip it. The flipping part is what is important when you're replacing the eyes. And it's too bad that their automatic eye thing doesn't work because it's a good idea. It just isn't quite there yet. So there is another tool that was new to me. And I'm going to open up another image. And so we have this young lady. And there's nothing, absolutely nothing wrong with her at all. But we are going to tweak her. And there is an adjust facial features available. And we're going to click on it. So now we have, she's open, and everybody can see this, I hope. We're going to zoom in on her just a little, and I'm going to exaggerate what this tool does. We're going to start with the lips. We're going to make her smile. And this does get a little creepy sometimes. We are going to add a little height to the lips, a little width. The upper lip we're going to make bigger or move it. The lower lip we're going to add to it. We can also go the other way. The eyes, going to add a little height to them. Add the width. It goes this way too. The size, the tilt, the distance between them, the nose, the height of the nose, the width, and then the face itself, the width, the forehead, the jawbone, and the chin. And then we click OK. And we have just created an interesting person. Now, what could we possibly do with that? Because this is not actually preservation. This is retouching.
So before you get too far, Kay,
Okay.
A comment from me, which I should avoid doing, is talk about creepy. But we have a number of our participants who comment and ask a question. So a question was, could you possibly take an eye from another picture? So say there was a picture that the eye was closed. If you immediately took another picture, could you move the eye from the one picture to the picture where it was closed?
You mean from say that again. Yeah, you can move.
Move an eye from one picture to another picture.
Yes, sure. All you have to do is select the eye in the other photograph and just drag it across, or copy and paste it and copy it from the photograph and then paste it into the one that you wanted.
Right. So yes. Another observation or question, actually, could you have possibly flipped the face, saved it, and then use the new OpenEye tool at that time?
Well, I don't know. That is a good idea. Since it seems to replace both of the eyes, I think you would still have to do some kind of doctoring, and you might as well go ahead and adjust it on your own instead of trying to get the machine. But yeah, because there's no way to tell it just to replace one of the eyes. It seems to want to replace both of the eyes.
Okay. And then we have some fun commentary.
That's
Robin
what we're doing.
indicated that it's starting to look like something Snapchat would do. Someone asked a rhetorical question: Why ruin a beautiful girl?
Well,
And then Someone indicated this is how to design a look-like ventriloquist dummy.
Oh, great, it is. Yeah, well, I exaggerated all of those things, but I want to show you now. And because this is the difference between restoring and touching something up. And where is she? This is just a regular snapshot. And we're going to do some tweaking here. And I'm going to show you some old tricks, and then we're going to apply that tool that they just provided us to this. But we're going to do it in a gentle way. So we're going to start with the healing brush.
Where was that adjust face feature?
It was up
Frank
here.
At? Okay.
Enhance adjust facial features.
Okay.
It's an interesting tool.
Thank you.
So, okay, we're going to get rid of a little few of these. And the less done to these kind of the retouching, I think the better they look. And I'm going to go through this really fast. So I'm not spending as much time, I'm not going to spend as much time on this if I was sitting down and really working on it. But these are some things that I would do, some of the tools that are here that would help you just tweak the face, enhance it just a little bit. Although you could go the other way and make it into something else. So we're going to create a layer from the background. And tonight we're going to be over here in this palette tool quite a bit. And we're going to make a duplicate layer. Now, I don't know if anybody pays any attention to ads in magazines, but if you notice that a lot of times when there is face creams advertisements, if there is an older model, they will lighten the skin up. So it's a trick just to make it look better. And that's what we're going to do here. I'm going to try two to see which one I like the best. Lighten didn't do too much of anything, so we're going to do the screen. So we've got this look, and that already takes away some of the lines that were there. It makes them less, you can't see them as much. So now I'm going to merge it down, and then I'm going to create another layer. Now, if anybody has ever seen a movie with Doris Day and Rock Hudson in it, you may be familiar with what I'm about to show you. Every close-up of Doris Day, I used to think that my eyes were bad, but she was shot through a filter, and the filter softened her skin. And with that filter, and this is an old technique, it's a blur, it's a Gaussian filter, and it gives you a blur. So I am going to apply that blur to this. So now, not only have we lightened the skin, we have a blur over it, but it's blurry. So there's a trick you can do, and it involves putting a layer mask on it. So here's our layer mask. We want to make sure that our color palette is black, and we want to go over to our brush. And we are going to start up here at the hair. We're going to make the brush just a little bit bigger. That's pretty good. And we're going to up the opacity down here. And making sure that we have clicked on the mask, we're going to go around here. and we are taking the mask off so that the hair is going to be in focus. We're going to do it here. So our hair is in focus. Now we have other things that are out of focus too. So we're going to, starting with our opacity turned up, we're going to shrink our size down and go over to the eyes and bring those into focus. We're going to go around them. And we're going to go down here to the teeth. Bring these things into focus. And then we're going to turn the opacity down a little and start blending up here so that it blends better. So there's not just this hard edge. Bring in the eyebrows. Go around the mouth some more, around the edges, close to the edge. And bring in the nose with the softer. So you should be seeing that the eyes and everything is starting to come into a little bit focus, but the skin still has a softness to it. One more shot up here. Now, there are other things that we can do while we're here. And we're going to look at some of the other tools that I haven't talked about. We're going to go to the bottom layer. And over here are some tools that I usually don't use because they're a little bit harder to use. But they are the burn tools. It's a sponge tool, a dodge tool, and a burn tool. The sponge tool saturates and desaturates. The dodge tool lightens, and the burn sort of darkens. So I want to show you what happens with the hair. Hopefully this will work. So I've got the bottom layer chosen, and I've chosen a dodge at, we'll try a highlight. And I'm going to run it along the hair. And you see what it's doing? It's applying a highlight to her hair. And I think I have the exposure turned up too high. And if we go over here, we'll do the midtones and just keep doing things. So it changes. These tools are interesting. They're sort of hard to get what you want. And you can get pretty interesting, vivid colors using these tools. But those are the dodge, or the sponge, the dodge, and the burn. The burn, let's see what happens when we go down here. We're giving a little bit of color to the lips. With the burn. You can also, if you want to, go up here to your select button, still on the bottom layer. Go in here to the eye. Choose that part of the eye. Go over to the next one, hold your shift key down. Release your shift key. So you've got both of the pupils selected. Go up to the adjust color. And you can add a little color. And I'm going to, if you notice, it changed just a teeny bit. You can make it as vivid as you want. So we've changed the color of her eyes just a teeny bit. And we're going to release that. So that is something you can do to soften the look of a face. That's just one technique. And now I'm going to merge this down. And I'm going to bring back that handy dandy new adjust the facial feature. And we're not going to exaggerate as much this time, but we do want to change it just a little. And I think what we're going to do is just change the upper lip just a little and the lower one, and then go down to the eyes and make the height a little bigger. Maybe the width just a teeny bit, the size just a little bit bigger. And we'll go down to the face. We'll bring the width in a little. And we will bring the forehead down just a little. And bring the chin up just a little. And hit OK. And so she's changed just a little. And that's, except for the hair, it's really too bright. But that's how you would touch up something that you're not really happy with. But that blur trick, that's an old trick that's been around for a long time. So that is touching up a photograph and also using that new tool from Adobe. Okay, now we're going to go into enhancing photographs. And I'm going to open up some photographs here, and I'm going to talk about some of the things that I look at when I'm looking for photographs, because I'm always looking for a photograph to use. And sometimes when I'm looking for one photograph, I see another photograph that I like for some reason or another that has possibilities, and I save it. I've got 3 here, and I look at them and see what I can enhance in those photographs. All of these photographs, there's nothing, absolutely nothing wrong with them. These are really nice photographs, but they each have something that can be added to them to enhance them. This is a great photograph. But let's see what we can do to do this photograph. We're going to go over here and we're going to make a duplicate layer. And I'm going to show you, we're going to do a lot of blending tonight. This is the part I really enjoy doing this in Adobe. I love doing this part. So over here are blending tools, and they will be a transparent layer. All of these tools do something different, and when you start investigating these ones, I advise that you just go through each one and see what they do. And they do different things to different photographs. This one It's the overlay. It's one of my favorite options, and I'm going to click on it. And you should have seen the image pop just a little. It just came out. It's not quite as soft as it was. So there's another tool that you can use in conjunction with these blending tools. And it's over here in the filter gallery. The filter gallery is a wonderful place to be and to experiment. And it does so many things. And all of these tools that we're looking at tonight, they all have a lot of different options. So we're going to go into our filter gallery, and this filter gallery opens up wherever I was the last time I was in it. And you can see that how this has changed already, that image. There is, in this particular photograph, I was looking at the highlight in her hair, and I thought that it would look really nice if we could just enhance that highlight just a little bit more. In Distort, there is a diffuse glow. And when you click on that, it brings out that highlight. Now, it only does it to the blended layer. So I'm going to hit the OK. And now this part is highlighted more than it was. So we've enhanced this photograph. We've taken a perfectly good photograph and we've enhanced it. And those are the kind of things I look for when I'm doing photographs. So we're going to close that one. We're going to look at another one. Now this one has some really great possibilities. It's kind of a moody photograph. So we're going to layer it. We're going to make a duplicate of it. And once again, we're going to go over to our blends. And I'm going to go down here so you can kind of watch what's happening. When I go down with my key stroke, you notice how all of these things are adding different effects to this image. Now I'm in the lighter things, the color dodge, the linear, the overlay, which is again one of my favorites, the soft light, hard light, and a vivid light. Let's go back to the hard light. And we're gonna keep the hard light. Over in the filter is a tool under render called lens flare. And there's a little thumbnail that appears when you get into the lens flare. And it mimics the camera lens flare that you can get. You can go into here and move that flare around anywhere you want. We're going to put it up in the corner. And we're going to increase the brightness. And we're going to say, okay. So now we have this effect over here. And we also have right here, that's harder to see, there's a flare there from the camera lens. So here's another effect that you can add to your photographs.
So Kay?
Yeah.
One of our attendees asked if it was possible to show the original next to the enhanced photograph before deleting each one, just so they could see the
Okay, well, yeah, I can, like,
difference.
there's the original. And this is with the blend and the camera flare. So there's the original with the blend.
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
Yep. Okay. And here's another one I found. And I like this one because of all the hair over the face. I thought it was an interesting photograph. So here we go again. We're going to make a duplicate layer. We're going to go into the blend tool. And we're going to go down like we did before to kind of look at what this does. And you'll notice it really, as I said earlier, some of the photographs react differently to all these things. There's a color dodge. I always stop at the overlay. They got to get rid of that. The hard light, and that's too vivid. So let's go back up to the hard light. That may be a little bit dark, but we're going to take this anyway. So now I want to do something to enhance that hair or make something out of that hair. I'm going to go back up to the filter gallery. And I'm going to go to the brush strokes. There are a couple of different things in here that enhance fine lines. This is a very interesting look. But here's the one I'm really interested in. If you notice how this really highlights the hair, and you can adjust things over in here, but we're going to leave it like that. And we're going to click OK. And you know, this filter tool is loaded with artistic gallery things. And each one of them, as I said before, has all of these options. And this is a great thing to use to learn what Adobe does. So there we have that photograph enhanced, and we are looking at that hair and all the shadows and the different color. So there it is, enhanced with two things. There's the original. And now we put the layer back on, and there's the original. So these are wonderful tools. Okay.
I don't know where this fits in, Kay, but we do have a request from an attendee of a previous session of yours, and she asked, will you ask Kay to show us again how she removed the lady from the old New York street scene? It was something about context.
Okay, that would be this one up here. And I found something, it's funny that she brought that up. I found out something else just today about content. This is content aware.
Okay.
And it's right here. It's this little crossbone. And you just go around here with the content aware move button. And then you move it. And then you shrink it down and it just disappears. And you click that and that disappears. So that's the content aware button. I wanted to show you one more thing before I go on to, I don't know if you guys remember this, but I found out something about content aware. And the reason I didn't really know this is because, once again, this is something that's new to me because it's not in my older version. If I use this lasso tree or lasso select and I go around this little thing and then this little patch up here in file or edit, edit, fill selection, there is a content aware. And if I click on it, ta-da. So there's another way of filling that in. And that does a really pretty good job on some photographs. So that's with some of the later versions up here, there is the fill layer, which has that content aware in it. So just so you are aware. So let's go on. Going to do, I'm going to show you how to go crazy with Adobe. And I hope I've only opened two. It's hard to. Okay, so I have two images here. And we're going to have an adventure. And this is a lovely photograph from NASA. And this is either a daguerreotype or an ambrotype. I don't know which because I've not seen the original, but there's so much flaking, it might be an ambrotype. But anyway, so we have this image and we have this image. And we're going to have some fun. So we are going to take from our bin, we're going to put this photograph in there. Now we're going to close that down. So we have two layers. And what are we going to do with those two layers? We're going to go over here to our color picker, and I'm going to be using quite a lot of tools tonight. I'm going to do our color picker, and I'm going to select a color from this lavender, and you'll notice that my palette changed to a lavender. I'm going to go back and move this over just a little bit. Now I'm going to go up to the Enhance, to the Adjust Color, the Adjust Hue and Saturation. Yeah. And as soon as I hit the Colorize, because I've already selected what I want, this over here will turn to sort of a lavender. So now this color is a lavender. So what else are we going to do? We're not done here. We're just going to keep on tweaking. We have this highlighted. We're going to go up to our filter. We're going to go to the filter gallery. And that is picked, and I think I'm kind of happy with that, actually. Yeah, I'm happy with that one. So we're going to say, okay. So now this has changed. Now we're going to do something else. We're going to go over to our select button, and we're going to select that with an oval. It doesn't matter about the one side. And I'm going to select the inverse, and then I'm going to select my feather and make it bigger. Hit the OK and delete. So now we have blended her in with the background, sort of. Let's move her down a little bit more. So we've got these two images ready to do something else with. So we are going to layer a background. We are going to make a duplicate layer. And we're going to put that on top. So now we've got 3 layers over here, which I didn't name, but I should. We are going to go up to the blend tool. And we're going to go down through here. And you'll notice that her face is starting to come through. We're just going to keep going down till we get it to a point that I kind of like it. I like that. Okay, that's kind of nice. So we're going to leave that one alone. And we're going to apply a layer mask. Go over to our brush. Make sure that it's black. And make it a little bit bigger. Make sure the layer is selected, and we're going to work this area. We're going to bring this into focus around here, but not all of it. So it's all very subtle. So we're going to look at this and say, well, what can we do next? Okay, let's make a duplicate layer of that. So we made a duplicate layer of the lighter layer, but let's do something else. Let's change the blend again. Let's get another whole different effect in there. That's a color dodge. So we're going to stick with color dodge. We still have our mask. We're going to go in here. Okay. Now, let's change our palette here to a bluey color. Okay. So we're going to add another layer by clicking this. So we have a layer. It doesn't have anything on it. Well, we need to put something on it. So we're going to go over here to this tool, a shape tool. And when I click on the shape tool, there's a whole lot of options down here. And this is another thing, another tool that you need to go through and look at all the shapes that are there for you. There's all kinds of shapes in here. And we're looking for some in particular. Here we go. This is a bunch of star shapes. And I'm going to just put it here. And there's my stars. They are this color because that was what the palette was. So there's a star shape. But you know, we can do something else with those stars. So let's go over here and let's make another duplicate layer. And we're going to take that duplicate layer and we're going to place it above the shape. So there we've got the sky again. Now these here are layer mask. And what I'm about to show you is called a clipping layer. And if I right click over here on this layer, I can choose clipping mask. And when I choose that, it will attach itself to the layer that is right below it. And it brings back everything. Here's our shape. And our shape is right here. And I can move that shape and it will have the sky in it. So that is created by using a clipping mask on a shape. So we're not done. Let's go into the bottom layer and make another duplicate layer. And we're going to put that one up on top. over here is the crop tool. And when you click on that, there are some other tools that are available. And one of them is called a cookie cutter. Now the cookie cutter uses the same tools that the shape tool does. One of the big differences though is that it has a feather option. And I'm going to show you why. I'm going to turn the feather option down a little. So if you choose your crop or your cookie cutter and you go over this layer, and I'm going to do this. There's our stars. Click. And there they are again. There's the shape. There's the cookie cutter shape. Now what the feather does, I'll show you what the feather does. So I'm going to use the cookie cutter again, only this time I'm going to turn the feather up. There's our shape again. And it does the same thing, except when I hit the green check mark, it feathers and it goes fuzzy. And there it is. That's what happens to the cookie cutter shape when you add a little bit of a feather to it. So now we're building up some layers over here. And we're going to add some more things to it. And right here is the text button, the text tool. And down here, this is the text tool options. And I'm going to click up here. Actually, I want to do something though. I want to change my text color to a darker. Okay, so my text color is a little bit darker. So I'm going to click here. And I don't know if you can see it, but the cursor is right there and it's blinking off and on. So I'm going to go in and type. And there's the verbiage, text. Okay. And you may not be able to see it, but there are some bounding boxes around that. And I'm going to stretch them, or I'm going to hopefully stretch them. Here we go. You just have to grab a hold of them. Move it over there. So there's Ava. But Ava is a little bit hard to see over here. So we're going to go up here, the layer style, the style settings, down to stroke. Click on that so that our palette opens and select that. And now we have a white line going around that. That's called a stroke. And we're going to say, okay. So now we have a white line going around Ava, and you can sort of see it. So we're going to do something else. We're going to go to our paintbrush. And in the brushes, there are a number of different things. So we're going to go to the assorted brushes. And this is another thing when you have a blank canvas to try out all these brushes that are in here and see what they do. I am looking for one in particular. There we go. This one here, number 50. is a star. We are going to change the color here so that it's a white star. Now, if things go the way they should, when I click up here on Ava, I should get, if anyone was around when someone asked about simplifying layers, this should ask me if I want to simplify this layer because I'm clicking on the text. Yes, I do want to simplify it. So now this is a vector and not, or this is a raster, not a vector now. And I can go in here and turn my opaque up. And I can click about 5 times because this is very light. So we're going to put some stars in here. And we'll make them smaller. We'll do some random stars here and there. Make them different sizes. And this is from a brush tool, what I just put in there. One more layer. Still with my star tool. I'm going to add one little thing here. Put some stars right here. Really subtle. So there you have a lot of tools that you can use, a lot of effects to do things with your images. And I know that was a lot that I just went through, but the reason I do this is so that I can learn what Adobe does. And when I practice, I go through all these different things to see what each one of them does and how, and I try to remember what I'm doing so that I can use it again later. So
we have a comment, Kay.
Yes.
Wow, with an exclamation point.
Oh.
And I would compliment that comment with just a general question. This is a way to also create like gifts or artwork from family
Yes.
photographs or
Sure.
images.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, you can do that. You can do whatever you want. You can do, you can take all those photographs you have and do enhancements like this and just make them pretty or beautiful or creative or, and it's interesting what you can do to a plain photograph. You can really do some things to it that are surprising. It's really nice to have some really good photographs that have a lot of promise to them. But yeah, tools, the blending tools, the filter tool, these clipping masks, you can do a lot with them. They're very powerful. And you learn it by getting in and seeing what they do.
Right. So we had another big thank you for the presentation and a question whether the participants can receive an email when your 5 sessions have been posted online. And yes, Linda, we will try to do that. Didn't mean to interrupt you, Kay.
No, it's okay. No, and I've only covered, there's so much more in here, that you can do. So this is just a tip of the iceberg, so to speak.
And you could probably create an iceberg, right?
I probably could.
Yeah. if there are any questions or further comments from those of us those who joined us this evening, please feel free to put them in the chat. Nancy says, I've immensely enjoyed, all caps, this entire series. It's very relevant for me because I've been a fan of Elements for a long time, but I've never scratched the surface of what Kay illustrated. Outstanding. I'm looking forward to rewatching the videos. Thank you so much.
Yep.
Chris says, great presentation. Betty says the picture of the girl with hair in her face would have been a really interesting project.
Yeah. Yeah.
And Gary comments, so much, so little time.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, it does take some time, but it's fun. It's fun to see what you can create, um, and it's fun to tweak photographs to make just a plain photograph into something that's catches somebody's eye. It's great to have something that people will look at.
Right. Sarah commented that it's so helpful to see some of these tools demoed. Thanks. And Linda asks, are there any online sessions for the 2017 version?
Not by me. There is that one website, the How To Guru, who goes through each version, but you have to, I don't believe those are free. But this version, I don't believe 2018 is too much different than 2017. I think they just added a couple of tweaky things, but all of these things that I just showed you are probably in 2017.
And another comment thanking you, Kay, for this evening's presentation.
I enjoyed it.
A question, is the 2018 version the latest?
No.
Yeah,
no, there's a 2020 out now. So there's a 2019 and 2020.
Good deal. Good deal. And with each one, a few more enhancement tools, etc.
Yes, every it's my understanding that they are supposed to, because they have some kind of agreement with someone, that every version that they put out every year has to have at least one new thing. So they always are tweaking their software.
Excellent, excellent. Robin indicated in the chat that 2021 is probably coming in September, October.
Okay.
So something to look forward to.
Yeah.
In this COVID-y time, we can take every possible thing we can get to look forward to. So
yes, we can.
Thank you for that, Robin. It was suggested that maybe this would be a real fun thing for family reunion materials.
Sure. Yeah.
A great way to make those. Maybe even a great activity at a family reunion. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Especially if our family reunions are going to turn virtual, we might.
Yes. Yeah.
So a couple more thanks have come in. Betty says, thank goodness you'll have these on YouTube. I know
yes.
I need to watch these again and again. And I'm right there with Betty.
Yeah.
Watch these a few times. So yes, they will be on YouTube. We in the Genealogy Center are committed to that. We just don't have too much control over the timeline, but we are committed. Some of the very early ones that we did way back in the beginning of the virtual programming that we did are online. It's just a lag that we wish would shrink a little bit, and we're working on that. So yes, we'll all look forward to these on YouTube. Another thanks came in, wonderful presentations. And Rosalind said that she will need to watch them over and over again as well.
Okay. Okay.
So thank you so much, Kay. It looks like our questions are tailing off, and I'm sure it's not for lack of interest, but maybe for, oh my goodness, I have so much I need to play with now.
Yes. Yeah, there's tons of stuff in here.
Yeah. So again, thanks to everyone who joined us this evening. Please remember that next week on Tuesday afternoon, Allison will be doing our memorial program for our colleague, our departed colleague, Delia Bourne, on free Sanborn fire insurance maps. If you haven't ever used Sanborn fire insurance maps, oh my goodness, what a treat. Then next Thursday evening, a week from tonight, Allison will be doing a program, a presentation on WorldCat, and there's a lot of fun looking for treasures in WorldCat. So on behalf of Kay and Allison, thank you so much for joining us this evening, and stay safe and continue to have great fun with Adobe Photoshop Elements. Thanks, and have a good evening.